Greetings to you. I am Dr. Pearl John from Logos Management and welcome to the Other 167. We continue our series on the women of the Bible, and today we arrive at perhaps one of the most iconic women in the scriptures, Mary, the mother of Jesus. Mary's narrative has echoed through the generations from cathedrals to country churches. Her name is synonymous with faith, humility, and God's divine favor. But more than just a symbol, Mary was a real woman who faced real challenges. She wasn't a mystical figure set apart from our struggles. She was as much human like us, born into an ordinary life and called to an extraordinary purpose. Mary's life is not about unattainable sainthood, it's about responding to God's call in the everyday, embracing faith in the unknown, and enduring trials with grace. Today, we are going to look into three key areas and focus on Mary's life from the lenses of faith beyond fear, favor in the familiar, and fortitude in the face of trials. And through each of these, we'll explore how Mary's journey relates deeply to our own and how her life speaks to our lives even today. Starting with faith beyond fear, and we have a reference of this in Luke chapter 1, verses 26 to 38. The moment the angel Gabriel appeared to Mary was a moment that would have shaken any ordinary person to their core. A young girl, likely to be around 18 or 19 years, Mary was visited by an angel who told her that she would conceive a child through the Holy Spirit, a child who would be the Son of God. Let's take a moment to reflect on this. Imagine a teenage girl in today's context being told something as astonishing as this. Her entire future, her body, her reputation, and her very life would be turned upside down. She wasn't married yet, and in that culture, being found pregnant out of wedlock could have resulted in severe punishment, not to mention the sheer impossibility of the angel's message. Pregnancy by the Holy Spirit? Are you kidding? It defined every bit of who she was not and defied logic and reason. Yet, Mary's response wasn't one of doubt or disbelief. It was one of profound faith. And she said, I am the Lord's servant. May your word to me be fulfilled. She didn't have all the answers. She didn't ask for guarantees. She simply said, Yes, Lord. Her faith extended beyond her fear, beyond the fear of the unknown, beyond the fear of what others would think, beyond the fear of her own inadequacies. How many times have we been faced with moments that seem overwhelming? Maybe it's a new job that seems too big, a sudden health diagnosis, or a financial crisis that threatens to crush our sense of stability. In those moments, we have a choice. Will we allow for fear to paralyze us, or will we step forward in faith, trusting that God's plans are bigger than our fears? Let me share with you a story of a woman named Anna. Anna was in her mid-30s when she felt called to foster care. She had a stable career, a comfortable life, but she couldn't shake the feeling that God was asking her to step into something unknown and unpredictable. The fear was real. What if she wasn't enough? What if the children wouldn't come into her home? How would she handle the emotional strain? But like Mary, Anna said, Yes, Lord, and trusted that God would provide the strength that was needed. Today, She has a home that serves over a dozen children, each life touched by her faith beyond fear. Mary teaches that faith doesn't require all the answers. It requires a heart that is willing to trust God, even when the path ahead is unclear. Second lens, favor in the familiar. We read that in Luke 1:28 to 30. One of the most striking elements of Mary's narrative is that she wasn't someone who would have stood out in the crowd. She was an ordinary girl from Nazareth, a small town, and was often looked down upon, possibly. She wasn't rich. She didn't come from a powerful family. She certainly didn't have any societal status. Yet the angel greeted her with these words, "Greetings, you who are highly favored. The Lord is with you." God's favor wasn't bestowed upon Mary because she was exceptional. She was chosen by God because God saw her heart. He saw her humility, her willingness to serve, and her faithfulness in the ordinary. And Mary was favored because of her posture before God, not because of her position in the society. In our modern world, we often associate favor with success, wealth, and recognition. But Mary's story flips that narrative upside down. God's favor isn't about being the best or the brightest. It's about being faithful in the familiar, in the everyday moments of life. Think of Susan, a middle-aged school teacher from a small town. She was not famous. She didn't have massive platforms, but she poured out her heart into teaching day after day. And she showed up for every class, and she was always available to her students who were from broken homes. Susan may never make it to headlines, but in God's eyes, she is highly favored. Her faithfulness in the familiar was what made her a beacon of hope for the children of the hopeless. Mary reminds us that God sees us. We don't need to strive for spotlight to receive His favor. We simply need to be faithful where we are. The third lens is fortitude in the face of trials. John chapter 19, 25 to 27, we find Mary's journey was not without deep pain and trials. From the very beginning, she faced public scrutiny, the threat of divorce from Joseph, the fear of rejection from her community. Perhaps the greatest trial of all came at the end of her son's life. As Jesus hung on the cross, Mary stood nearby watching her beloved one suffer an excruciating death. Imagine the heartache of a mother witnessing her child being crucified, the deep emotional and spiritual anguish that must have gripped her heart. Yet even in this moment of insurmountable pain, Mary remained steadfast. She didn't turn away. She stayed near her son till the very end. Life brings us moments of profound suffering. Losing a loved one, facing betrayal, dealing with chronic illness. Like Mary, we often find ourselves standing at the front of the cross, watching something we hold dear fall apart. The pain is real, and it can feel like it's too much to bear. But Mary's narrative reminds us that even in the darkest moments, we can stand firm. We can endure because we know that the cross was not the end of Jesus' story. Beyond the pain of the crucifixion was the resurrection. New life, new hope, and new beginnings. That can be yours as well, if only you will commit yourself to be like Mary. This is Pearl John signing off, The Other 167. Thank you for watching The Other 167. Continue to watch as we continue on with the next woman of the Bible. Have a wonderful weekend. God bless you.